Okay, 21.3, using special factors to solve equations. So this is just a review of our special cases of factoring, perfect square trinomials and difference of squares. So you can look through the book, see how they do it, follow the example, maybe to remember a little bit, but we're just going to do the your term problems here. So remember, we always want to start factoring by doing GCF, and that's one reason I like this section. So the first thing I do is I look. Well, 2 will go into all those, and they also all have a y, but the most y's I can take out are 1 because this one only has one y to give me. So I factor out a 2y. What's that going to leave? That's going to leave a y to the second plus 2 times 6 is 12, and I took one of the y's out, and then 2 times 9 is 18, and I took that y out. So then we look, and we can do it 2 ways. You can recognize it as a special case, or remember, factors of 9 that add to give me a positive 6. Well, that's 3 and 3. So if you do it the long way, it's y plus 3 and y plus 3. Okay. Or, because those factors are the same, that's why, again, it's a perfect square trinomial. So y plus 3 squared. You still have to keep that GCF with it, okay? All right, let's do the next one. So this one you could do bottoms-up method, but we're going to go ahead and recognize that it is a perfect square trinomial because that's a square and that's a square. So what do you square to get 100? 10. What do you square to get 1? 1. Oops, sorry, 1. And then, again, we look at this sign here to know that they both have to be minus. So let's just do our FOIL to check. 10 times 10, 100. 10 and negative 1 is negative 10. Negative 10, that would give me negative 20. Negative times negative 1 would give me positive 1. So that's correct. And then you could also write it as 10z minus 1 squared. What about difference of squares? Okay, so remember, difference of squares, that's got to be a square, that's got to be a square, it's got to be subtraction. Still always try GCF, but there's no GCF here, okay? So what do you square to get x squared? X and x. What do you square to get 144? 12 and 12. Remember, with difference of squares, one's a plus, one's a minus, and we're done. Okay, review, do your FOIL. That's x squared. Okay, outer, that's negative 12x, that's positive 12x. They cancel, that's why there's no middle thing here. And then 12 times negative 12 is negative 144. Okay, the second one, 9 will go into both of those, and they both have y's. So I take a 9 out. How many y's can I take out? Well, I can take out 2. So I take out a y squared, and that's going to be 9 times 9 is 81. I took 2 y's out, so that still leaves 2, minus 9 times 1, okay? Now, this is still difference of squares because we square 3 to get 9. We square 1 to get 1. So I have my GCF, then I have my 2 groups, 3y, 3y, 1, 1. One's got to be positive, one's going to be, negative. Okay, now all that's going to happen is we're going to solve with these. Still the same principle. First thing we need to do is factor. Okay, this case there is no GCF. This is a square, 5, 1. So this factors as 5x minus 1 because of that right there, and 5x minus 1. Okay, review, 25. Negative 5x is negative 10x, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, so that's it. Now I find the 0, so we do the opposite. The thing with a perfect square trinomial that we addressed before when we did this is the fact that it is the same answer used 2 times. So graphically, remember that's where the parabola hits the x-axis 1 time, which means it's got to be at the vertex, okay? In this case, x is, if you don't remember, you can set it up as an equation and work it out. You add 1 and then you divide by 5, okay? And there's your solution. Or what we always say, take the opposite. What's the opposite of -1? +1. What's the opposite of multiply by 5? Divide by 5, and there's your solution. And you only have to put it once, and that's referred to as a double root. A double root, because it's the same answer used twice. Okay, what about number 9? Here's difference of squares. Look for your GCF. 2 will go into those, and these both have x's. So I take a 2, and I can take an x squared, because that one has 2 to give me, x squared out. What's that going to leave? 2 times 4. And that still leaves 2 x's minus 1. Now, whenever you take a GCF out, what would make this be 0? Well, the only way that GCF could be 0 is if x is 0. So there's one of your solutions. But then I also have to deal with the difference of squares part. So I have to factor that now. So that becomes 2x, because 2 times 2 is 4. And then 1 and 1. One case is positive, one case is negative. So I find my solutions, roots, zeros, answers, x-intercepts, however you want to call it. What's the opposite of +1? -1. What's the opposite of multiply by 2? Divide by 2. What's this one going to be? Well, just the opposite. +1/2, because one case is a positive, the other case is a negative. Okay, this one has 3 solutions. Now, remember, it could have had as many as 4 because the degree was 4. So it can have as many as 4, but in this case, it only has 3. So just a reminder of that as you're going forward. So again, you can look at how the book does it and stuff, but hopefully we got an understanding. Okay, in this one, I'm only going to do problem number 10 here. And this is a word problem, and remember, we referred to this as our parabolic flight, okay, our equation due to gravity. And it says a teammate wants to wait until the ball is 8 feet in the air before she spikes it. When should the teammate spike the ball? How many reasonable solutions are there? Okay, so what's happening is we want this to equal 8. Okay. Now, one way to do this is on the calculator, put that as y1, put that as y2, and then go to second, trace, and find where they intersect. Okay, now they should intersect twice. When it says reasonable solutions, what is t here again? T is time. Okay, so we need to think about that. If one of your answers is negative, that doesn't really make sense, okay? But I'm going to stay with the whole factoring. So I'm going to do this using factoring, but we'll talk about in class a little bit how to use the calculator, okay? Just refer to that some, make sure you understand how to do it. But let's stay with factoring here. So first thing I'm going to do is before I can factor and solve, I have to get the equation equal to 0. That's real important. So the first thing I want to do is I got to get rid of this 8. Got to get it equal to 0, okay? So have 0 equals -16 t squared plus 12t minus 2. Look for a GCF. GCF here, 2 will go into all those, and I'm going to take out a negative because it leads with a negative. So 0 equals -2 times 2 times 8, -2 times -6 would give me a positive 12, and then -2 times 1. Okay, now I've got to factor this. So here I'm going to do the bottoms up method. Okay, I can ignore this because, there's no variable with it. So if there's no variable with it, I don't have to worry about that GCF being a solution. Now, if there were a variable, I would have to take that into account. So I do 8 times 1 is 8, so this becomes t squared minus 6t plus 8. I need factors of 8 that add to give me -6. Well, that's going to be 4 and 2. So I have t minus 4 and t minus 2. Again, I've got to take into account the 8. So divide by 8. Well, Well, 8 won't go into those evenly, okay? So let's backtrack. Remember, if it doesn't go evenly, then we said take 8 and break it down. So let's try 2 and 4. Well, that'll work. 4 will go here, which means there's got to be a 2 here, because remember, all this together has to make an 8. 2 will go here, which means there's a 4 there. Again, all that's 8. So what are my factors? I now have 2t minus 1, because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And I have 4t minus 1. Okay. Now I have to find my solutions. Okay, so we do the opposite. So the opposite of this, we take opposite of -1, which is +1, divide by 2. Do the opposite of this. T is 1, 4. Okay, so reasonable solutions. There are 2 times here, because I don't know if you understand, having coached volleyball, I understand this. We're talking about a teammate wants to wait until the ball is 8 feet in the air before she spikes it. When should she spike the ball? So the ball is in the air at 8 feet twice, because think about it, the ball goes up and comes down. So if this is 8 feet right here, it's in the air there once, this would be at T is 1/4. It's when it first goes up, the shortest time. But then it's going to come back down to 8 feet, and that's T is 1/2. That's when the player is waiting. So the setter sets the ball, it goes up in the air, comes back down, and then that's when the hitter's going to hit it. So this would be it. Now, technically, both answers would work for a real volleyball situation, but that's neither here nor there. So hopefully that kind of made sense to you.